Now, those of you that know Jean know her passion runs high. You also know that she has a heart of gold. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend, Jean Rosenbaum.
Thank all of you for being here. This is just wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. And I'm not really doing the thank you portion of this evening, but I want to give a special thanks to Joya Menashe and her team for all of this decor. It's beautiful. And besides friends from high school, and her husband came all the way from San Antonio. Okay, so now on to the serious part. I had to just laugh a little bit because this is also emotional for me. And this morning I was reading on Facebook the story of a fallen soldier whose remains were being transported an aircraft, and how respectful everybody was to the family, and I was just crying, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be hard to get through my speech tonight. I'm emotional today. So I'll tell you just a little bit about the foundation. The roots of the foundation actually began nearly 5 years ago with Signature Hospice. However, it's been nearly 3 years since we evolved as Pacific Northwest Hospice Foundation. In that time, we have felt a huge impact that we've made on the lives of people at the end of their journey. Before I tell you a bit more about that, I'd like to take a moment to introduce and thank my board of directors who have helped me to make all of this possible. Would you all please come forward? Everybody here? I'll see if I can remember your names. Sherry Torgerson is the president. Greg Thielen is the treasurer. And we have Gwen McGill and David Watson, Barbara Marmon, Linda Peters, and Natasha Hoekstra.
This is not part of Jean's script, so she's freaking out right now. But I'd like to just say on behalf of the board members who are here and those who are not, that we want to thank Jean for her spirit, her vision, and her dedication and hard work for this foundation. We really enjoy working with her. Thank you, Jean.
I'd like to give special thanks to Governor Barbara Roberts, Janine Wolf, and Ann Schatz. Mostly I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, for joining me and the board in helping us accomplish our mission of granting gifts for beyond measure. We named our event Honor the Journey. Hospice is all about honor. It's a special concept of care that promotes living as fully as possible to the end. It's true, we honor the lives of patients, but really, the honor is ours to share a part of their final moments. We fund people, not buildings or programs. We touch individuals as they touch us. We honor their journey. Last year, we created the Dr. Edward E. Rosenbaum Memorial Fund to honor the memory of a man who spent the last 25 25 years of his life teaching and supporting patient advocacy. His philosophy of care embodied treating all patients with dignity and respect to the end. All proceeds from last year's event and tonight will go into this fund, with more than 90% going directly to patient needs. In a moment, I will share a few examples of patients who receive the benefit of this fund. But first, I want to ask you, how meaningful is the gift of an ordinary day in your life? How many times have you wished away the time in anticipation of an upcoming event, visit of a friend, a vacation? And yet, if you're a hospice patient, how much would you give for just one more ordinary day? We hold it in our power to help create not just an ordinary day, but a final, extraordinary day for those in need. And here are a few examples of those that we've helped in the last year. A grandmother who needed funds for plane fare to visit her 7-year-old grandson on hospice in Portland, With our help, she made it in time to spend the last 4 hours of his life with him. A woman separated from her sister at a young age had just found her after 20 years, only to discover that she was dying. We helped fund a visit for the sisters to meet and spend some first and last time together. In her own words, the woman in her 90s wrote, "I want to make one more trip to Lincoln City before I die. I am too weak to get up the steps of a bus. I want to hire someone to drive me to Lincoln City for the day. I want to play the slots one more time." A story like that. Page turners. Paper stuck. Right with you. One woman's wish was to provide a last Thanksgiving dinner for her daughter, caregiver, and grandchildren. She was unable to afford the cost of the food for her family, and we provided a Thanksgiving meal for them. The family requested assistance with travel expenses so that the patient's 3 children could drive from California and make one final visit to say goodbye to their dad. A daughter asked for funds for her mother to visit from Arizona to assist with her care needs and spend her last days together with her mom. A patient in a nursing home with end-stage liver disease cries because she wants to visit her home and family, but they are unable to afford the medical transport that's needed. We are currently funding her trips home. I feel honored to be in a position to make an impact on people in their final days. Most of these people are gone now, but what an incredible impact we made on their lives. We have funded dozens of patients in the last 2.5 years, and while every case moves me, there have been a few that have touched me even more deeply. I would like to introduce you to Barb Albright, daughter of one of these very special patients. And she would like to tell you a little bit about the impact the foundation has had on her. Barb.
First, I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, and I want to say how honored I am to be asked to speak here. To be honest, I really didn't know much about the foundation until a few months ago, and since then I've done some research and learned all I can about it. And I've learned it's such a wonderful cause, and I support it wholeheartedly. Now I know where my donations are going. My mom had lived in Oklahoma for 10 years in between her sister's house and a few other nursing homes. I was able to speak to her a few times a week, but never went to go and see her. For some odd reason, I thought that for me to go entailed my whole family going, and we could never afford the cost. So, unfortunately, we couldn't go. We found out in April of last year that Mom had melanoma cancer. But I was told over the phone that it was going to be sort of an easy cancer, even though she had to have a new jaw made out of her leg bone. She was in recovery for a few months and had a feeding tube. It was such a joy when I was finally able to speak with her. Then both of our worlds came crashing down. In less than 2 months, we found out that the cancer was back very aggressively. It had metastasized to almost everywhere in her body. Her doctor had given her about 6 months to live, and this was in September of this last year. I was able to go at the beginning of October in hopes of bringing her back to Oregon to live, but I knew before I left that it wasn't going to be a possibility due to the time constraints. David from Signature Hospice gave my name and number to Jean along with my story. I was on the plane on a layover to Oklahoma when Jean had called, and I spoke to one wonderful lady. She had heard my story and circumstance, and she wanted to donate the funds for me to fly back to Oklahoma for a second trip to bring my mom here. I was so overwhelmed with joy. I was able to fly back a few weeks later and move my mom here at the beginning of November. My husband, kids, and I were able to go and see my mom almost daily. We were able to take her meals until she was no longer able to eat. We were able to have the first Thanksgiving and Christmas together in a long time. As the months went by, Mom had gotten worse. She had some ups and very bad downs. Thankfully, her brother was able to come and see her at the beginning of February. Once he left, she really started deteriorating. I'm lucky that the night before she passed, I stopped by to say hi, and we were able to talk and tell each other how much we loved one another. The next day when I got off work, I was able to get there in time and hold her hand as she took her last breath. That was the hardest thing ever. That was on February 12th. I miss you. This wouldn't have been made possible had it not been for Jean and the Pacific Northwest Hospice Foundation. Thank you so much. I'll be forever grateful.
Thanks, Barb. We've heard firsthand how much impact your donations make. Please look at the gifts that you have been given in your life and make a pledge to share and to make an impact. We honor these people as they honor us, allowing us to touch their lives. Give them the gift of one extraordinary day while we share with them the end of their journey. This is the concept of hospice, compassionate care. Live well by giving well. We have it in our power to help honor the journey of those on hospice who just want another ordinary day. Remember, it's not just your duty, it's an honor. Thank you so much for your support tonight.